Transformers the movie, or Josie the Tiger and the Fish. Oh, hello there. So, one thing that I like that kind of sometimes I'll watch are anime movies, or animated movies sometimes. And that's today's topic, which is the 1995 film Memories. Memories is a Japanese animated science fiction anthology film with Ketro Otomo as executive producer, and it's based on 3 of his manga short stories. And the 3 stories are, in this case, Magnetic Rose, which was directed by Studio for Scifi, and written by Satoshi Kon. Stink Bomb, directed by Tensei Okamura of Darker Than Black, and Cannon Fodder, and was directed by Otomo himself. The film originally came out in 1995, and like I said, has 3 stories. In this case, say different stories, all directed by 3 different people, and each having their own visual art style. And I actually really, in honesty, kind of dug this, in honesty. One really pretty cool thing is that Koji Morimoto, the director for Magnetic Rose, he was actually one of the animators for the anime cult classic Akira. And yes, talking about this one. So let's go ahead and talk about the first film in this 3 film anthologies with Magnetic Rose. Basically, the first film deals with a crew of a salvage crew that trying to respond to a emergency distress signal until they get to basically a giant space station, and on that space station they discover that it was originally the owner of a opera singer. And as they all go through they all kind of in a way discover say freaky things going on, whether it's things that's going on that had previously happened, or reliving past memories from their lives. And I gotta say, the animation for the style for this one is actually really dang good. It's impressive, and honestly. One thing that the first one, Magnetic Rose, has to it, it has a bit of a space horror kind of vibe to it, in the fact that they're on this ship, and although they are trying to get out, and as well, they have this, in a way, hologram of a woman that is, in a way, at times stalking them and trying to keep them there. And I gotta say, especially, hopefully they don't remake this one, but I gotta say, if they did remake it, this one would be kind of hard, honestly, to do. Especially if the because it kind of would look quite strange, I'd say, if they did this in live action. And yeah, I like all the characters in this one, whether it's Miguel, who is just, like, say, the average guy who's just hasn't seen a woman in many years, and he just instantly falls in love with Ava, and he just realizes, like, oh, she's a computer, or she's a hologram, don't care, or something like that. So basically just follows her, and then in a way becomes stuck. Whereas Hines, he ends up reliving a memory of his family and reliving the death of his daughter who had fallen off the roof of his house. And yeah, I gotta say this one was actually really good, honestly. The one way this episode ends is the Corona, the ship that they have, basically they're able to, they basically just fire a cannon at the space station, which causes it to get destroyed, but leaving Hines stuck in space, and then Miguel being stuck as the new Carlo in a way. And yeah, and then we see what actually happened to Ava, and it's actually really quite haunting. Honestly. But now we're going to move on to the second story, which is Stink Bomb. This one had more of a, in a way, I'd say, when this one came out, it had a bit of a kind of, although you could say it had a bit of a world life influence, but the characters in it can be quite humorous in the fact that the story begins with a guy going to get his flu shot. And the doctor just says, hey, check on your symptoms, like any kind of doctor would. But he takes some pills, which are actually which he mistakes for, like, regular drugs that will be for your cold, flu stuff. He ends up taking an experimental drug, and then it becomes basically a giant weapon of mass destruction that's so stinky. And yeah, and although as soon as everyone steps in his vicinity, like they go on, they're dead. I mean, let's just hope that doesn't happen now, though. But I mean, this time might sound, it's kind of funny, but I suppose it's sort of, in a way, it kind of reminds me of the episode where SpongeBob has bad breath and everyone runs away from him.
You look at it! 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 I want all of you to look at it!
Although in this this story, it's if you stay close to him, you basically die. So basically, the entirety of it, he's trying to get a group of some papers back to his, like, a boss in Tokyo. But everyone's trying to stop him. And the government's trying to stop him. The military's trying to stop him. But eventually he gets there. And then the third story, which is Cannon Fodder, which is this one. And this one has a bit of a different animation style, and I actually kind of dig it as well. Has a bit of, like, say, a propaganda kind of vibe. In that everyone is, like, everyone is doing their daily job, which is trying to, help make sure the cannons are working. Like, basically, they're loading the cannons and all that. And then the big shot, he is the one who basically goes like, fire the cannon. And all that. And then, so a little boy basically just was like, I don't want to grow up to be like my dad, which is loading the cannons. I want to pull the cannon and all that. And, well, I dig the animation style and all that. I guess, this one is the shortest and all that. Whereas the other ones are, like, say, 40 minutes. And, Magnetic Rose was the longest as well. I think this one, this one was more of a shorter story, which works for what it is, in honesty. However, it feels like, say, this one's just like, say, okay, we've established the world, and now, okay, story's over. So, yeah, that's unfortunate, but I guess, like, the one thing that's the saving grace for this one, for Cannon Fodder, is that the animation style for it is actually really good, so I enjoy that one, part of it, and actually, compared to the other ones, I think this one is, I can understand why they had this one third, because while the first one knocks it out, Magnetic Rose knocks it out of the park, and so does Stink Bomb, I think they thought, okay, let's end it on either a okay note, because we spent, we had two good stories, so let's do a story that's kind of more of a visual-based story, too, instead of, like, say, a story that's more dialogue. Because there's not much dialogue in Cannon Fodder. It's a lot, there is dialogue, but it's not, like, say, a ton of dialogue that's just, okay, there's a bad guy, there's this. Most of the dialogue is just, like, say, workers working to get the cannon working and all that to fire at a opposing city. And all that, so, but I can really say, and honestly, that this one is actually really good. I could say this one's actually kind of a bit of a hidden gem, one would say. But, overall, what do you guys think? Have you seen the film Memories? What are your thoughts on anthology-based films? Put your thoughts in those comments down below and let me know. And as always, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time. Hopefully you don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you next time. See you later.